So there's a joke I'm going to tell you. It's kind of like a rite of passage. So I wrote a joke. So this guy goes into Walt Disney's office. He's like, "Have I got a movie for you?" Set in Paris, 1910. It's about this Persian feline named Duchess and her three kittens, Marie, Berlioz, and Toulouse. And they live in a mansion with a wealthy retired opera singer named Madame Adelaide. And she's getting on in years, so she has to draw up her will, right? So she decides to invite over her eccentric lawyer friend, Georges. And they're getting to the will, they're working on it. They find out she doesn't have any living relatives, so they got to figure out who they're going to leave this money to, right? She decides, I'm going to leave it all to my cats. I love those cats. And then after they die, I'll give it to my butler, Edgar. Now, Edgar's in the other room. He overhears this, and he is not on board with that plan for obvious reasons. So he sets out to sabotage, maybe speed up his inheritance a little bit. Nothing too dark, though. This is a kid-friendly movie. So maybe he, sedates them, puts some sleeping pills in their morning cream, and then brings them on a motorcycle out into the wilderness. And on his way out there, he gets interrupted by a couple retired army hound dogs named Napoleon and Lafayette. And in that scuffle, he ends up losing his hat and his umbrella as he escapes. But he does leave the cats in the wilderness, so that works out. So the cats wake up, find out they're stranded. Luckily, they befriend a street-smart alley cat named Thomas O'Malley. And he decides he's going to help them try to find their way home. They try hitchhiking on the back of a milk cart. That doesn't work because the driver scares them off. So then they take to the railroad tracks. But then a train comes, so they have to run and jump off the tracks. Marie, one of the kittens, gets swept up in the river. And who saves them? But their new friend, Thomas O'Malley. Back at the mansion, of course, their disappearance does not go unnoticed. A mouse named Rockfort and a horse named Frou-Frou decide they're going to go out looking for him, proving the age-old adage, when the cat's away, the mouse will team up with a horse to form a search party and go looking for them. So back with the cats, they befriend a couple British geese in town on a tour of Paris named Amelia and Abigail Gabble. But then they have to leave to go take care of their drunk Uncle Waldo, who escaped from a restaurant where he was getting marinated in some wine. So Thomas O'Malley decides, let's take to the rooftops. And he introduces them to a friend of his named Scat Cat. Now, this is pre-MC days. And Scat Cat's got a gang of jazz cats, and they decide to play a song to lift everybody's spirits. Duchess and O'Malley, they split off for some more private conversation. There's talk of marriage. Thomas O'Malley wants Duchess to settle down with the cats, abandon their adventure home, and just be happy with him. She declines, unfortunately, out of deference to Madame Adelaide, who is so sick that she's missing her cats. So much so that Edgar sets out to go back and get his umbrella and his hat, the only evidence that could convict him. So he goes to do that. The cats set out in the morning. They decide, we're going to head homeward bound. They walk home, get to the front door. Who's at the front door? Who else would be but Edgar the butler? Edgar grabs him, throws him in a sack, puts him in the oven. He doesn't turn it on, though, obviously. This is family friendly. Puts him in the oven. The mouse, Rockfort, sees this, runs over. The cats say, you got to go get Thomas O'Malley. So he runs, gets Thomas O'Malley. Thomas O'Malley says, you got to go get Scat Cat and the gang. So he goes and does that. While all this is happening, Edgar has taken the cats. He's put them in a trunk, locked it, and he is going to mail it to Timbuktu, Africa. The truck is on the way. Time is of the essence. All the animals come back. They decide they fight Edward. Rockfort the mouse picks the lock. In the ensuing battle, Edgar ends up in the trunk. Just as the truck arrives, he gets loaded up and sent to Timbuktu. Madame Adelaide notices that he's gone and decides, I'm going to redraw that will one more time. I'm going to take out Edgar and I'm going to put in one Thomas O'Malley. And I'm going to turn my mansion into an orphanage for all the stray cats in Paris. The grand opening of which M-Ski, Scat Cat, and his gang show up and sing a song, and it ends with singing and dancing. The end. And then Walt Disney's like, oh, what's it called? And the guy says, the Aristocats. So then Walt Disney pulls out a gun, shoots him in the face, and skull fucks the head wound. That's all I said. Thanks.